Imagine not being able to read the paper because your hands were shaking. Imagine not being able to read newsprint as your world faded to black. The National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana.
With your host, Lee Barton, and co-host, Florence Myers.
We want to welcome you back to the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana show. Once again, we are here with the great guest, which you don't want to miss hearing from our guest today. And I will have her introduced by our co-host, Florence Myers, no sooner than we come back from our commercial break. But we want to talk a little bit about the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana show and the NFB Newsline service. It is a free audible information service that have over 500 publications. And you can access these different publications by using a myriad of devices, such as your landline phone, your smartphone, your computer, your Victor Reader Stream, your Amazon Alexa, and a number of other devices. Now, you can read international publications, you can read national publications, you can read your state and local publications, and all of this is free. We are sponsored through our Talking Book and Braille Library services here in the state of Indiana, and once again, they really do a great job with this service, and we just want you to pay attention to all of our information that's scrolled across the screen and that you'll hear verbally so that you can contact us and find out more about this valuable service. And by it being Hispanic Heritage Month, we do have 5 Spanish publications, and there'll be a commercial there as well. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with our guest and our show.
NFB Newsline celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month.
Mi nombre es Enrique. Quiero hablarles de NFB Newsline. NFB Newsline es un servicio para gente no vidente o de poca visión que les permite leer periódicos y revistas. Para más información, llamen al 855-693-6476 o métanse en la página de web en nfbnewsline.in.org. NFB Newsline is a service for the print impaired to read newspapers and magazines. You can subscribe or get more information by calling 855-963-6476 or going to the webpage at nfbnewsline-in.org.
Read NFB Newsline!
It's free.
We are the nation's blind, and we read NFB Newsline.
As I travel the nation, I read NFB Newsline.
I live in Valparaiso, Indiana, and I listen to my local news on NFB Newsline.
As a student, I enjoy reading current events on NFB Newsline.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline today. Welcome once again to the National Federation of the Blind Indiana Newsline show. And Florence, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Well, I tell you what, we have a very interesting guest today, and I just want to say, you know, this person comes to us, with so much experience. She's been around and doing community activism working for the community, serving the community, and I know that many of you, once you hear her name, will know exactly who she is. And so, Florence, introduce our guest for us, please.
I certainly love to do that. The guest that we have, as you mentioned, she is a social activist. She is an icon in our community. She is a historian. People have told me that they consider her a walking history book. She is director of IPS Racial Equity Office. She is also director of the Christmas Addicts Museum. This woman is phenomenal. And our guest today is Dr. Patricia Payne. And Dr. Payne, welcome to our show.
Good morning. I am so honored and blessed to be with you.
Dr. Payne, tell us a little bit about you. Let's say before director, you've been in education for over 60 years, so I know that you have a story to share.
Yes.
Were you born here in Indianapolis?
Born right here in Indianapolis. I grew up on 30th and Indianapolis Avenue and attended IPS schools, graduated from Shortridge. And so I started teaching second grade in IPS as soon as I graduated from Indiana University. That was in 1962. And what I noticed in my classroom was that there were no textbooks or resources that reflected my Black children. And that's when my journey began, because except, I take that back, there was one thing that they thought reflected our children, and that was the chapter on slavery. That they always made sure that that chapter on slavery was in the textbooks, and I didn't think that that properly reflected our history. That was certainly part of our history, but our history was much more than that. And so that's when our journey started, to make sure that we got more. The truth is about teaching children the truth. And so that's when our journey started. We went before the school board to almost demand that they do something different. And so we say that we've gone from a moment to a racial equity movement. And that's what we're on.
Quite a few people that contributed to that particular moment in time. Do you want to share a few of those individuals that worked with you in that particular, went to the school board, and give them a little bit of...
Well, many of them were teachers. We had the teachers union with us. And in the community, of course, we worked with Representative Crawford and Glenn Howard. They were working out in the community. I was working in the school district. So we just brought our efforts together to make sure that our children were learning the truth. And then in 1998, we designed the Christmas Addicts Museum opened. And if you have not been to the Christmas Addicts Museum, it is on the campus of Christmas Addicts, and it talks the history of not only Christmas Addicts, but of us as a people. You'll find a pyramid in the museum also, because we want our children to know that our history doesn't start on a plantation in America. It starts in ancient Africa. All of our teachers and anyone, in fact, who touches the life of an IPS child has to go through this 2-day 9 to 5 training. And this training is all about systemic racism so that people can understand why our children are always at the bottom. It's not certainly because they are dumb, because they aren't interested. This is part of the system and all of those systems that work against us as a people. And this didn't just start, it started back in 1619 when we were enslaved and brought to these shores. And so it's very important that we help teachers to understand this, especially since our teachers are about 90% white. And that's not just in IPS, that's all over the country. Because brown teachers are not coming into the profession. And that's too bad because our children need to see people who look like them in decision-making positions. So I guess that's why I'm still here working hard so that our children can achieve as we would want them to do and as they certainly can do.
Now, I hear what you're saying, and I hear the passion, especially since you've been in education for over 60 years. What actually just keeps you so motivated to do the work that you do in our community?
Probably the lies and the garbage that I keep hearing out here about our children, about who we are as a people. That's what keeps me motivated. This, let's see, I guess that was in January. When you heard all of this stuff about CRT, and the legislature was trying to pass House Bill 1134, which would have criminalized teachers for teaching children the truth. We would not even be able, if that bill had passed, to have our training, because it would have outlawed training to teach children, to teach teachers the truth so they could teach our children the truth. So we joined a coalition of people to beat that bill back. It included the NAACP, the Urban League, the Indiana State Teachers Association, IU professors, many of them, and teachers from all over the state helped to come together in a coalition to beat that bill back. Now we know it's coming back, probably in another form, but we haven't stopped meeting either. And the thing is, it wasn't just in Indiana where they were trying to pass that kind of bill. It's all over the country. And they patterned it after Trump's executive order that would have taken all of the truth out of the curriculum to teach our children. So everybody was saying the same thing in these legislatures, but Indiana was only one of the red states that was able to beat that bill back.
Well, I tell you what, that takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication. And, you know, we really appreciate all the work that you do, but we all as a community need to get involved. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that and a little bit more about the museum over at Crispus Attucks. So stay tuned.
Good.
We'll be right back shortly.
I am a blind vendor, and one of the things that I truly miss is reading Vending Times magazine.
Hoosiers can hear Indiana magazines, circulars, national magazines, and information from across the globe. Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
It is a fantastic service.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline today.
NFB Newsline celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month.
Mi nombre es Enrique. Quiero hablarles de NFB Newsline. NFB Newsline es un servicio para gente no vidente o de poca visión que les permite leer periódicos y revistas. Para más información, llamen al 855-693-6476 o métanse en la página de web en nfbnewsline-in.org. NFB Newsline is a service for the print impaired to read newspapers and magazines. You can subscribe or get more information by calling 855-963-6476 or going to the webpage at nfbnewsline-in.org.
Read NFB Newsline.
It's free. If you or someone you know is visually impaired or print challenged, the National Federation of the Blind has a resource you need.
I use NFB Newsline when reading Hammond Northwest Times.
Using NFB Newsline, I read the Christian Science magazine.
Dad, you read Jerusalem Post too.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Live the life you want. Read NFB Newsline.
It's free.
Welcome back to the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana show, and we're in the midst of a great conversation with Dr. Patricia Payne, and we're going to continue that conversation. So Florence, go ahead and continue it for us.
Dr. Payne, there's something else that's going on right now, and it is Equity Initiative. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the Indianapolis Public Schools isn't just starting this. I know it's a big fad now since George Floyd's death. Now everybody, but IPS has been doing this since probably even before 1962. That's when I know my efforts started. So I was telling you about the training that's going on with our staff members, but also last week we brought our parents in for training. Now they went through a 3-hour what was called groundwater training to help them also understand using a lot of the data how where Black children are always at the bottom in IPS. It's not IPS. This is happening wherever Black children are across this country and wherever they are. And we wanted parents to understand what is going on, that their children are not dumb, stupid, and lazy. This has been built into the system. And so their 3-hour, and it was just the beginning to bring our parents into this, because we can't just be giving this training to the staff members. Parents have to understand this also. We also invite community members to go through this training, and that's once a month. That they come. The Indianapolis Public Library has sent all of their staff members. The YMCA has sent all of their staff members. And so it's very important that the community joins us in this effort, because systemic racism is running through their organizations, just like it's running through the school districts. Systemic racism not only runs through everything, it shapes the outcomes of everything going on. So community members are invited to join us in this effort. Now, with community members, there's a $350 charge, but it's for 2 days from 9 to 5, and you also get resources with it.
Well, you know, you're exactly right about the systemic being everywhere, even in our community, the blind community. We're working with this, with the National Federation of the Blind, an organization that's been around since 1940. And we're just now getting to the point to where we're addressing these issues. So we've established a diversity, equity, and inclusion, national committee, as well as local committee. and definitely we'll be in touch with you.
Okay.
Okay, and Dr. Payne.
Yes.
Now, I know that you're involved in a lot of other initiatives as well. And basically, you are getting ready to do something. You're getting ready to speak at Martin University next week, October 21st. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
For Liberation Friday. Liberation Friday, I was introduced to Liberation Friday by Representative Bartlett. And that is when you came into my life, Florence Myers. And that was such a blessing. We meet on, what is it, the first Friday, I think it is?
That's the third Friday.
The third Friday at Martin University. But on the 21st, we'll be really celebrating. And I guess the purpose of this is to identify everything that's going on in the city that celebrates Juneteenth. And we are trying to bring everybody together so we won't have all of these separate celebrations for Juneteenth. And some people know about them, some people don't know about them. So we're just trying to identify everything that's going on. And so on the 21st, I'll be presenting it's a slide presentation, and it's about our ancient African history that a lot of people have no idea about. That, our history did not start on a plantation in America. Our history started thousands and thousands of years ago in ancient Africa. I've been there. I've touched those pyramids that were built with black hands. And people need to understand the greatness. That's why I say none of our children should be flunking one subject, because our ancient African ancestors who built those pyramids obviously knew mathematics, astronomy, all of the subjects. And those pyramids are still standing. And they are the only wonders of the world that are still standing. So we are going to be celebrating that history on the 21st at Martin University.
Well, is that open to the general public, or is there a fee to it?
Just come and enjoy. There is no fee to it at all. I'm not sure, what time does that start, Florence?
That will start at 6 p.m.
Because Florence is our chairperson, by the way. She's the one running this show. So that's another great blessing that we have in this city.
Now with that, we're going to be getting ready to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Thousands of Indiana residents feel isolated from the world due to vision problems. Thanks to the National Federation of the Blind, visually impaired Hoosiers can hear newspapers, circulars, and magazines from across the globe.
I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'm blind. I read Stars and Stripes on NFB Newsline.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline.
NFB Newsline celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month.
Mi nombre es Enrique. Quiero hablarles de NFB Newsline. NFB Newsline es un servicio para gente no vidente o de poca visión que les permite leer periódicos y revistas. Para más información, llamen al 855-693-6476 o métanse en la página de web en nfbnewsline-in.org. NFB Newsline is a service for the print impaired to read newspapers and magazines. You can subscribe or get more information by calling 855-963-6476 or going to the webpage at nfbnewsline-in.org.
Read NFB Newsline.
It's free.
I just graduated college as a blind student. How can I independently find job listings?
Thanks to the National Federation of the Blind, visually impaired Hoosiers can hear newspapers, circulars, and magazines from across the globe.
It is a fantastic service.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
We are the nation's blind, and we read NFB Newsline.
Welcome back to the conclusion of the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana. And Dr. Payne, do you have any closing words for our listening and viewing audience?
Well, first of all, let me say what an honor it has been to share this time with you. And I guess I'll end with this quote that I usually end with when we are doing our racial equity training. And it tells people that this movement that we're in will require a major shift in our knowledge base, in our attitudes, mindsets, belief systems, and our instructional practice, in our everyday practice. And we will know that this has been achieved when student outcomes can no longer be predicted by race or ethnicity. Those are my closing words, and this has been a joy.
Well, it's been a pleasure sharing with our listening and viewing audience with you today. You have so much to share with us, and I tell you, we'll have to have you back on so that you can share even more. So,
I'd be honored.
To our listening and viewing audience, thank you once again for joining us, and continue to listen to us as we try to bring to you important issues. Please get out the vote, as it is very important.
Yes.
As you hear us talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, because without you and without your vote, we'll be right where we are today, still spinning our wheels, and we need you to get out and do justice. So until next time, God bless you, God keep you, stay safe.
The National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana. For more information, go to nfb-in.org or call 855-963-6476. That's 855-963-6476. The National Federation of the Blind encourages you to live the life you want.